Yeah, but Leanne, affiliate marketing but it's so broad that it takes a lot of work to understand all of it.
You're listening to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast, powered by Affiverse, ultimate destination for affiliate program news, insights, growth opportunities, partnerships, and affiliate program strategy. Welcome to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast with me, your host, Leanne Johnston. We are on the other side of 2026, and joining me this week, I'm really excited to have Ishtvan Topoi, that affiliate guy, which some of you may know, some of you may not, but we'll let him introduce himself in just a minute. We're going to be talking about some really important topics that I think are pivotal for starting this year right as an affiliate program manager. So if you're a brand and you're listening to this podcast, this episode is going to really help you understand where and how to strategize your growth plans for this year. So Ishtvan, welcome onto the podcast. I'm excited to have you here, buddy, because I know you got a lot of opinions, and I'm going to hopefully get you to share all of them with our audience.
Thank you so much for the introduction as well, the invitation. Happy to be here. Yeah, so Leanne basically just introduced me, but I've been in the game for about 10, 11 years now, agency side. So I always got to see a lot of different things. So yeah, thank you very much again for the invitation and being able to share some of the ideas that I have. As you know, I'm already quite outspoken. So I'll just try to, if you have any questions or when you ask me questions or you want to talk about something, I'll just try to keep it brief so I don't spin off like I always do. So
no, but that's why you're here. That's what we want. We want the fly on the wall conversation that you and I always have, but now everybody's listening. So let's get started. We had quite a contentious back end of the year. If you're in affiliate marketing, you would have no doubt by now seen Megalag's recent video about browser extensions. You probably have some thoughts and opinions on that. We all do, and we will get into the thick of that. But I think let's start with the basics. For brands who've never worked with browser extension affiliates, can you paint a picture of what this should actually look like? And also, what kinds of affiliates need to go into programs that are growing and maturing?
Okay, so that's actually a very, very deep question. I think, first of all, the whole Megalag situation was more geared towards coupon browser extensions, because Honey is a coupon browser extension. So just going to be honest to everybody that's listening, I worked also with browser extensions in the past. At some point, we got questions. I don't remember who it was from. I think it was the client themselves. I don't really want to drop names right now. It was a pretty big, well-known brand. And they basically said, okay, so what are they actually adding in value? So I looked at the sales pitch of the affiliate themselves, because I wasn't really that skeptical about certain things at the time. So this was already, I think, 5 years ago or something. And I kind of trusted a lot of things to go the way that people said that they would go. So I think that's how I approached this thing, because yeah, we're supposed to trust each other, right? That should be the basis of any collaboration. But I checked the documentation, and then one of the selling points, for example, was that, and I believe it was actually Honey in question as well. So they claimed that they improved, for example, as a key metric, cart abandonment rates. I still remember that like it was yesterday. I thought it was, okay, cool. Does it actually work? Let's put it to the test. So we already had it running, and I literally just analyzed the data before they launched on the website, and then I analyzed the data when they were active in the program. So what was their actual impact on this key metric that they were selling the service as, at least at the time? Also, just a quick distinction. So this, again, because this was, I think, at least 5 years ago, 6 years by now already, they mostly or only appeared during checkout. So once you open the cart, they actually appeared. Nowadays, I don't really see that. They appear as soon as you land on the homepage of any given website that they're connected to. So there's a difference in that way of work. So that back then was actually, at least the idea was that it was geared towards improving those kind of things. The difference was less than 1%. So there was a tiny, tiny fraction of an improvement. And to me, with the other metrics involved, so for example, you're actually giving out higher discounts, you're paying commission on top of all those things, it didn't actually have the positive effect overall on your business metrics from a profitability perspective versus that metric of cart abandonment rate improvement. I forgot the exact number, but it was less than 1%. And it wasn't successful for me in my situation. So I said, okay, there's no point. And Honey was the biggest one back then. And then we also have now, I mean, we're years down the road. We also need to understand that there's a difference between coupon browser extensions and cashback browser extensions, right? Because cashback platforms, just a quick recollection for people that might not be aware of the differences of the two. because in affiliate marketing, people tend to combine those two in one sentence, but they're completely different business models, right? So one is offering coupons, so you get a discount to actually try to make the sale happen. That's the idea. And the other one is kind of similar because you're getting cash back, so you're getting some kind of reward for the purchase that you're making. But it's an active database of people that submitted their information. The cashback platforms, they have the personal information of people, sometimes even millions of users. So they have their home addresses, payment details, etc. It's a completely different business model. And based on the data that I have from the last couple of years, because I've been doing a lot of testing on this stuff as well, on this whole coupon story, the cashback affiliates, they generally start a lot more journeys. So if you buy, let's say, a homepage exposure on a cashback platform, you will actually trigger a lot more customer journeys because people already go on there looking for, okay, I have 500 euros, dollars, pounds, whatever to spend. I need these and these things. Let me see which ones have offers right now that I can spend money on and actually get a reward.
Maybe a consumer that doesn't want a discount.
Exactly. Honestly, I think we all love discount, right? So if you can get one, fine. However, with coupons, just as a general term for coupon affiliates, coupon browser extensions, whatever, they don't have that same effect, at least from what I've seen in my data. So the whole user journey, customer, let's say, purchasing behavior is way different. And they are often last click as well, just like coupon sites would generally be last click, but they're not only last click. So they start a lot more often. They're also in the middle sometimes as well, more often than coupon sites are. And because it's those people, they generate a lot more recurring sales as well. Now, going back to the initial browser extension topic, the cashback platforms also, to make the life easier of the consumer when they're shopping, they started adding a browser extension feature, right? So they don't have to log on to the platform because the browser extension is linked to their account already. All they have to do is sign in and they get the cashback during the sale. So just as a quick practical example, recently, actually, we took over a campaign in the US, Canada, the UK as well a bit, but mostly US, Canada. And one of the predecessors, they set up Rakuten, which in my opinion has a pretty solid thing because anyway, it's cashback, right? So that's already a different thing. So we're okay with cashback. They have the browser extension. They didn't want to launch without it. We said, okay, that's fine. Or at least the person said it's fine. But they set a much lower commission for the browser extension. If the browser extension is triggered and the sale happens, you pay it less because there was no real customer journey flow. It was just something that popped up. So somebody clicked, okay, cool. But if the person goes onto the website and actually browses and spends some time on the website, and then exactly. So it's not just an impulse, okay, just click here and let's get the cashback. They actually were searching for it in more cases. And then it's a more valuable sale that happened. So that's just in general terms without getting into all these details, but that's generally it. So we need to make that distinction as well. Cashback browser extensions work different than coupon browser extensions. Then, so in relation to the honey thing, so Mega likes what you've seen, the way he explained it, this is something that we also often do, right? So when you launch new things like that, you should also, I might be getting ahead of myself, but basically, I'm just trying to touch on the tracking aspect of it, right? So the cookie placement and stuff like this, we have found zero evidence so far from Rakuten, again, because it's a different business model, it's a different company. I'm naming them by name because they're actually doing a good job, so I'm okay with that. Funny enough, most of the sales are coming from the website or the app, not from the browser extension. So that has less impact even than I thought that it had. But they're not taking part in the same type of tactics to try and get that last click as, for example, a honey is or other ones.
We've dropped quite a lot of information, and it's very important that if you're an affiliate program manager and you're listening to this podcast, what we're trying to do is paint the picture of the fact that there is no one-size-fits-all blueprint. Every type of partner that you're going to be working with in your program, the onus is on you to understand the value proposition that that partner is bringing to your program, whatever program it is that you're managing. Understand the tracking execution that is implemented on your program, whether that's direct through a network, whatever the logic is that you're using. So you need to be responsible for the logic that is being incurred when users are coming through their user journey or their shopping journey and eventually landing onto your website. And you also need to be understanding what value do these partners bring to you at the life cycle stage that you're at with your program. A lot of the programs that Istvan works on are mature programs. They're really big programs. They're looking for incremental growth. So some of the testing that he's been talking about here is being done to actually look at how does this partner impact our sales process? Are we actually getting incremental sales from this partner at the point where we're at in our program lifecycle? So I just want to kind of caveat this, that, we're talking about a really important, very high impact topic at the start of this podcast, but there's also a lot of context that needs to be taken into account on this discussion. So yeah, I mean, it's a huge topic. The biggest things that I want you to take from what Istvan has shared already is the fact that, one, you need to be responsible for how your program works, what tracking implementation you have in place to work with all of these various partners. And two, you are responsible for the strategy that you put in place on your program. So if you're unsure and you don't know what types of partners you need to be having in your program at the point of where your program is, it's time to hire a strategist to actually get involved and start to understand how to bring this all together. You can't go forward blindly, not understanding the channel properly, running your program and then hold your hands up and go, oh, we've actually not had incremental increase, or these partners haven't delivered. Because the onus is on you as the strategist and the program manager to direct where and how this program grows.
That's a perfect summary. So again, I tend to spin off into things because we can sit here for hours and talk, but that's a really good summary. Yeah.
So you've spoken before, because I've heard you talk about partner types and the segmentation of affiliate programs, which is super important. And maybe now's a good time to talk about that. If you are a new program launching and you're within the first 6 months, what kinds of partners should you be inviting into your program? Does coupon and cashback and loyalty all have a place at that early stage when you're just launching your brand and your program into the Ethernet?
If you ask about SEO, they always say it depends, right? So in this case, it's very difficult. For an e-commerce brand, I would say there's about at least 18 types of affiliates that you can use. That also includes, by the way, podcasts, right? It still didn't take off as much as it could have.
Please God, let it happen this year, because podcasts are like a gem that nobody's even looking at.
So I do think that it is coming, but it takes time to evolve, right? So certain things adopt a bit slower than others. So for e-commerce, it's about 18, 19 different types of affiliates that you can use. And in essence, you could potentially use them all. I'll just use one of them, which is let's just use, retargeting as an affiliate type. If you as a brand don't have all the resources internally yet, and you want to generate fast results, you could use a retargeting affiliate, because you're not running retargeting yourself. You're not pumping money into the machine without knowing anything yet. So you leave the risk up to the affiliate. You pay them for their conversions. And since it's retargeting, it's super hot anyway. So there's no reason for them also not to do it, those super hot traffic. But if you're already running something internally, you might be a bit less inclined to run something like that, because then you're double dipping and you're double paying on certain things. So you need to understand, what are you running inside of the company yourself to know what can I run as an affiliate program to actually expand the reach, rather than expand the reach, but also fish in the same ponds. Another example, so you asked, you're launching a new program. So let's just say e-commerce as a new program. Generally, what I say is how fast, so I always ask the brand, how fast do you want to see revenue coming in? If you're okay with a bit slower, gradual uptake, then you can start looking into things like influencers, certain content websites, take comparison. If you want to go faster, then I always suggest cashback is one of the first, because that almost guarantees that you will generate at least some sales, right? So you launch that. It's pretty quick to launch anyway. So you have to have a normal payout, not below market standards. Otherwise, it's not interesting for the users to buy from you. They'll buy from competitors. CSS, if you have a product feed as a brand, I've had many brands that actually could use it that don't want to use it. So I had that conversation a lot this year, actually, a lot more than I would expect. And even though the argumentation is good, and even though that Google also even has documentation that says you're not actually bidding against yourself, they are still very hesitant. And I think it's also just a lack of knowledge from the paid team's perspective.
This whole episode so far has been about a lack of strategy and a lack of knowledge.
Yeah, but Leanne, affiliate marketing it's so broad that it takes a lot of work to understand all of it.
It takes a lot of learning every day in the trenches, on the job. We need to wake up to the fact that this ain't easy anymore.
Well, it's definitely not plug and play. I actually ran a poll, I think it was last week or around Christmas or something. And I was surprised. I thought I would have 100% on the no answer, but there were even a couple of yes. So it was like, is it enough just to launch an affiliate program? Some people actually answered yes. And I thought, okay, so it's interesting that we still have that misconception and people just turn it on. And then indeed, like you say, you have somebody break, oh, but why do we have all these coupons everywhere? We didn't even want coupons as a brand saying that, right? Let's say a premium brand, for example, or they try to position and you're like, okay, but You literally just turned on, you approved everything, and now you're wondering why it's doing the things that they're doing. So
if you want to be successful in affiliate marketing, you best start self-educating yourself. And that is my mantra for 2026. I've literally come back into the office today and gone, the one and only thing that I need to care about now is educating people on how to actually work this channel and make it valuable for their businesses. Because too many people are doing exactly what you said, launching an affiliate program and going, my job is now done. That's the beginning part of your job. The ongoing part of your job is making sure that program is actually adding incremental value every month.
I think the ongoing part of the job is about 60, 70% of the work, if I'm just being honest. That's the vast majority. So there's another poll that I did, and I was also surprised to hear from quite a lot of people. They said no when I said more affiliates equals more conversions. So that's a myth as well, right? And technically, I've never seen a program grow without you adding new affiliates. So you need to add new affiliates. So just from a technical, logical perspective, the answer should have been yes. Everybody should have said yes. But if we get to the nuance part of it, this is also why this whole mega lag or honey debacle basically showed us is we need to be also very scrutinous about who we work with, how we work with them, and when, and you need to have processes in place. So, I mean, I can understand if a small brand that is not doing much of, well, anything. So let's say they're not doing much paid media, they're not doing Google, they're not doing Meta, they're just relying on organic, they're relying maybe a little bit of something somewhere other than organic and email. Then you can say, okay, you know what? I also like one of the things that you said is if you're launching a new product, you could potentially use a browser extension to push like a specific code, let's say, and again, coupon browser extensions. So let's forget about the cashback ones for now. But you could use a specific code to try and push that product. But then we get to the essence of it is like, okay, but are you showing this broad? Are you showing this based on certain website behavior? Did somebody add a certain product to a cart and you're like, hey, but it's not the product we want. So here's a code. You need to add this product. So you need to have the right messaging, not just a blanket code, because then it's not going to work, but the cookie still gets dropped. Are we going to drop the cookies? Like, you need to have all these preventive measures. It can help your business if you're really small, you're not known, and you do want to tap into that user base that has that extension in place. I can understand the logic behind somebody saying, okay, but we want them to close those sales for us, especially if you're not known.
Well, also, if you've got a really big competitor. So, for example, if you're selling the same product or the same service and you've got a really big competitor, it might just help you increase your sales incrementally if there is a coupon that comes up at the time when the customer is looking to purchase that gets them over the line. So it prevents that cart abandonment. Going, well, there's no offer on this one, so I'll go buy that one instead because there is an offer. That could also happen, but it has to be controlled. It has to be implemented and executed in a controlled manner so that it's doing that uplift and not just a blanket for everyone, like you just said.
Yeah, and I also think you really need to have your KPIs straight. So what do you actually want to get out of this? So like that case, I wanted to know, does it really have an incremental value or let's say an improvement on the cart abandonment rate? It didn't, not significant at all. So for me, there was no actual uplift. At least that was from my testing perspective for that case. You as a brand can choose any other KPI, any other metric that is important to you. So let's say the industry standard is 2% conversion rate from everybody that lands on the website and then eventually makes a purchase, 2% of people. So 2 out of 100 end up buying. But your product sits at, for example, 0.5%. So you know that somewhere people are dropping off, either your product offering, maybe you see a lot of cart dropouts, right? So you need to understand your funnel as well on your website. How do people behave? And then choose certain affiliates. So in this case, you could test and say, okay, but how about we trigger people during that phase? So we actually see a very high cart abandonment rate or dropout during that stage. Let's try and entice them with a nice code to actually make that purchase. But you have to make sure that you test it for a certain period of time, make these agreements with people and tell them, okay, but this is what we're testing against. We want to see if it really has a positive impact. And then you make a decision whether you want to continue it, yes or no. Don't just turn it on, let it run, let them scrape all the codes that are out there. So you need voucher tracking to make sure that every sale contains the code or doesn't contain a code, but you need to see what contains, doesn't contain codes. There's a lot of variables that go into this before you actually test something, but it starts with knowing your KPI. What are you actually trying to improve? Obviously, if you're going to use, let's say, a content website, you want to inspire more journeys, right? That's from a general logical perspective. They're mostly top funnel anyway. So let's say a blog, right? Just a blog, running shoes. You're selling running shoes. You want people to read about why are your running shoes good, right? Then you get a blogger to write about it. Then you can go down into comparisons. Okay, now let's stack up against competition. We actually have some good USPs. So we actually have good pricing. And then you try to see how you're going to convince the people in different stages of the funnel to try and make that sale actually happen. So yeah, that goes back to what you said, but you need to understand what you want to get out of it first, and then look at where these affiliates are in the journey, and then set certain KPIs to try and measure against and see if it's worth it.
And I think that's the problem with the newer affiliate program is the mindset is always, I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to let everybody in because I want sales. But actually, if you start with the plan first of where are we missing opportunities to get new customers, what types of partners or partnerships do we need to be making in this channel to bring and close the gaps from what we're already doing? Or are we doing nothing and we're going to let affiliates come and bring us retargeting, paid media, PPC, SEO? What are we going to be allowing these affiliates to do? So the planning is the most important step before you launch, is what do you want these partners to do for you? Because if you're just launching a program and turning it on and going, I want more affiliates because that means more sales, you're really doing like 1990 marketing. It's like you're going back to the 90s and you need to be bringing it back to the future, which is like more strategic, very well organized. Do you know how many affiliate managers I talk to? And this is not an insult to the industry. It's purely because this industry is so complex. They don't even know what their own customer journey is. Now, how can you know what partners to bring into your program unless you know what the common customer journey is to your own website?
You know how many times I've heard last year, we don't actually know what our LTV is, customer lifetime value.
Then how can you be paying commissions? That's my point. If you don't know what your own profit margins are, how on earth can you be paying commissions to partners?
The thing is, Leanne, you know what I think is also a big problem is, so that this is actually, I think, more important for smaller brands that don't have the resources. They don't have all these tech stacks, tool stacks. For them, like investing in a certain tool that costs them $100 a month more, they're like, okay, but I don't really need it. I don't see the importance. It's another $100 that I can't really, it's a mindset thing as well, right? They don't see the benefit of that actually helping them. I think smaller brands do tend to, it's so weird, but okay, so because they don't have all those things in place, I think they just look at the bottom line. I don't even think they look at it often enough, to be honest, because they realize a bit way too late. Oh, wait, but since we started doing this, actually had a serious jump in cost of acquisition. So where's that coming from? And then they can't even tie it back to anything. And then you start getting all these questions and then you realize, wait, but we're not really adding value with a lot of these things, but we thought we were, and all this time we see revenue coming in on paper, but then you do the maths, the finance guy comes in and says, oh, wait, but you're actually bleeding money, man. It's not right. It's really strange though, because even big companies, it's all over the place. I can't really put a finger on it. Smaller brands have this. Even a brand doing 30 million per year, they still don't have correct tooling in place to understand what like you said, what their own customer journey even looks like, who is actually doing what, where. And I'm thinking to myself, but you guys are doing 30 million. Why are you not spending 100? It only costs you like a 1K a year extra, but you'd have many more insights. And you know how many manual things I have to do for that brand to figure out, okay, I have to reward this guy a bit more. I have to change the commissions here, give them less because they're actually blowing up the cost of acquisition. It's eating up so much time. I could have spent that time on other things.
Yeah. Do you think that's because data is so fragmented at the moment? Like you've got your internal back-end data, then you've got the data that you're looking at in the network, which is only tracking your performance-based partners. Then you've got your media data maybe in another platform. Do you think that it's a lack of aggregation that causes this in businesses when they get to that size?
I just don't understand why though. Because when you're at a certain size, so for smaller brands, I can understand that this is not happening. But for bigger brands,
data doesn't become sexy until it is. That's basically what it is. Nobody wants to dig into the numbers because we're marketers, right? We're creatives. We want to be doing the fancy campaigns and seeing the numbers come in on the back of those campaigns. But data becomes very sexy when you're trying to do incremental margin increases in an already big business. So there does seem to be like a tipping point there. When you go to generalist digital marketing events, people still don't see affiliate managers as skilled. They just see them as like customer support agents. And now the stuff that we're talking about here, we're really getting into the weeds of just how skillful you need to be as a performance marketing manager. So if you're listening to this and you're managing a team of affiliate managers, get your people into training because they are going to need it this year if they are going to help you succeed. And it's not just about customer support for affiliates and getting campaigns live and putting banners into networks. Like we are way beyond that now.
I would also like to add is, especially for the companies that have people in other paid teams. Get everybody talking to each other. So that's how I learned in my situation is I siphoned off of display people, offline people, SEO people, Google, Meta, whatever. And I tried to understand, okay, what are they actually doing? You need to understand because affiliate is all of that in one channel. And if you don't even understand how some things work, you don't know what the impact is. So I 100% please talk to your other people, talk to fellow peers, become friends with other paid specialists, exchange ideas, try to understand what they're actually tweaking to understand, okay, but how are my affiliates going to be tweaking things, right? So it goes that way. You don't have to sit in ads manager of Google yourself, but you need to at least understand, okay, so because my team is doing this, then you have more talking ground with your affiliate that is also doing Google. And then you can understand what they're actually doing. And then you can build a better relationship and drive more value and stuff.
You need to divide and conquer. Affiliate can no longer be an outlier that sits, like we call it in the shroom room, the mushroom room in the dark. Sit in the dark and just, pedals away at doing their thing. You need to now be a collaborator and you need to be working with all of those teams to understand where can I plug the gaps? What is my strategy for this year? It is not just open up an affiliate program and let everybody in.
I also think, by the way, as an affiliate manager, before you launch a program or you're launching a program, please try to read as much of the documentation of affiliate networks as possible. Because if you look at the whole spectrum of what's available, to this day, like literally I've posted about this on LinkedIn, my day looks sometimes, okay, I need to negotiate some deals. So you need to have sales skills. You need to talk to, CSS. Okay, how can we optimize? So you need to understand Google's algorithms. You need to go fix some tracking. So you need to understand, okay, either I need to go to Google Tag Manager, I need to go into Shopify, I need to go in wherever. So I literally, I'm spread out. I'm like 8 roles in one day. Please read the documentations, read tracking things so you understand. Again, going back to this honey thing, you need to understand what is actually happening. So if you would test things when you launch new affiliates that you're not aware of yet and you don't know how they work yet, one of my best recommendations, sorry, maybe again, I'm ahead of myself, but one of the best recommendations I have is test affiliates as you would be a user of that affiliate. If you really want to get good at this job and you want to understand what the impact is of all your affiliates, that's what I think you should really be doing. Plus talking to all the other paid people, become friends with the industry broadly, and basically just gather as much knowledge as you possibly can. So then when you get to the point where you need to make those incremental decisions, when brands are actually nitpicking and they're saying, okay, wait, but we've actually seen, thank you for all the revenue, but we've actually seen that our CAC went up. And we noticed that it's also because of the affiliate program.
Okay, just to round us up, because you've spoken about such a lot in this episode and you've shared a lot of experiences as well in terms of real life programs that you've managed. What are your top 3 non-negotiables for 2026? What are you going to be doing on behalf of your clients that are non-negotiable to actually scale and grow their programs?
So this one is actually very easy, but number 1, monitor your data. So your performance reports. It's not a joke. Don't just poop out a weekly report, even if it's automated, send it to management, and that's it. A recent case, we launched a new affiliate. So it was for that US, Canada. It's a wellness brand. They have an app, or they have several apps. We launched an affiliate and we instantly, because we regularly watch the data, especially for newly launched affiliates, but also new to us, as in we have never tested those guys before. So not just a new one on this program, but new in general. Watch the data like a hawk. They did, I think in the first day, they did almost 800 installs on the app, but eventually only got 3 purchases from that app. That ratio is like the worst that it has never been done in the company, not in any single channel. So instantly we knew that something was up. It was an indication of like a farm, those bot farms where you don't need to go into details, but they just blast out fake installs and basically try to make money on that. So watch your data like a hawk. Like you need to stay on top of it, especially for new launches. Number 2, be open to changing your default payout model. So if you're like, let's say an e-commerce brand and you're on cost per sale, so percentage of the order value, you have to be able to look beyond that initial. So let's say, Europe is actually much worse at this than the US. So US, I think, are pretty good at looking at customer lifetime value, are willing to pay more for that initial sale because they have good nurturing and good follow-ups and good reactivation campaigns. So they know that this is the kind of data you need to look at as well. So be open to changing. This is from a perspective of, okay, from CPS, we're also going to offer CPA because we know that the average order value pretty much in 98% of the time is about this. We know that people then afterwards buy 2 more times. So we can easily offer them a fixed payment. And why do you want to do that? It's for certain affiliates. For them, it's more interesting. Like media buyers, they have more guarantee. They don't like percentages, so they just want a fixed payout. So to attract more affiliates, quality affiliates, you need to be able to change your payout models. Same thing, like for example, a B2B brand, actually SaaS, B2B. They went from B2C to B2B. And the first thing I said was, you need to start paying CPL. Like you need to pay leads because this is a longer sales cycle, right? This is a different process. You have sales involved in trying to convert these bigger order values. You need to start also paying CPLs. They didn't think about this. They were like, okay, you know what? Yes, we have to try it. So you need to be able to be willing to, based on data you have, to pay different payouts than just the default that you think that you want to do. So that's one of the other ones. I mean, in general, compliance and monitoring is one of the things that I've seen this go wrong so many times. It doesn't have to be a third-party tool per se, right? If you don't have the funds for it, let's say you're a small company, right? You don't have the money for 500, 1,000 per month to pay for a tool, even though they're good, right? You don't have the money. Do conversion quality checks. Do they actually convert? So for example, a recent example, I see conversions coming in. First thing I do that seemed off, I asked the client, I said, can you please double check that they've been paid for? Because this client offers pay after, so pay later. But it's a different even one. It's not just like through Klarna or something like this. It's an actual, I will transfer the money within 3 days. And they try to earn commission through cashbacks, because this is one of those situations. You need to do quality control checks. Do not auto-approve things. This is what it goes hand in hand.
Let's recap that. Watch your data like a hawk. Don't be married to your commercials and be happy to actually leverage your data to change the payout mechanisms that you're triggering based on the program that you're managing, and get with it with compliance monitoring. I think we've covered quite a lot in this first session, and it wasn't all just about Megalag, but there are some really good points here that Istvan has made to help people get started this year with 3 amazing tips that he's closed us out on. And I think, honestly, if you just do those 3 things this year and get yourself educated and trained and out at events and learning from your peers, you're already in a really good spot to build your program successfully this year. So thanks for tuning in. Istvan, it's a pleasure to always have you because you've just got so many cool ideas and concepts and experiences to share. And it's really great to see you on the side of 2026. So here's to a really successful year, and thank you for being here.
Likewise. So thank you very much again for the invitation.
Join thousands of digital marketers who trust Affiverse for the latest trends, tools, and tactics shaping affiliate success. Subscribe for free to our weekly newsletter and get expert insights from industry leaders, exclusive case studies and strategy tips, early bird invites to live and virtual events. You cannot afford to miss this. Don't fall behind. Get the news, strategy, and trends that keep your affiliate game sharp. Sign up now at affiversemedia.com and stay connected, informed, and ahead. Thanks for tuning in to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast, your insider edge to all things affiliate.